Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, GCW, sorry pal, from Rochester, New York. This happened last night. They're on Thriller TV Plus. We're going to run down this card and some things that happened as we got one show between now and Hammerstein. That one show is Thank Me Later, which is on tonight from Columbus, Ohio. Review that tomorrow, along with New Japan Pro Wrestling Battle in the Valley. And then we get the lead up to the big Hammerstein Ballroom show. GCW, the People versus GCW. So it's going to be a very exciting show. Looking forward to that. Alright, at Sorry Pal, first match was a tag team match. The Gahbage Daddies, Alec, Radrick, who will take on Violence is Forever at the Hammerstein Ballroom, versus High Seas, Cloudy, and Nick Ando. Great back and forth tag match. Violence is Forever ended up being on commentary for this match. They were just kind of dogging the Garbage Daddies. You actually had at one point Alec Price looking over the commentary table and getting in a verbal sparring with Dominic Garrini, which distracted them from the match. Then you were able to have Cloudy get the better of Garbage Daddies for a little bit. Price ended up hitting a step-up swanton on Nick Aldo. You had Cole dive into the outside. Cloudy did a dive to the outside on the Ratty Daddy. Once the match ended, you had Garbage Daddies get the victory. High Seas at first didn't look all that solid. This match kind of dragged the first 3-4 minutes. I'm like, oh great, this is not going to be. Ended up kind of in the middle of the match. High Seas ended up kind of getting the upper hand a little bit after that little verbal sparring between Alec Price and Dominic Garrini. But then at the end, Garbage Daddy was able to get the pinfall victory. Violence is Forever comes in, challenges them for right now. Oh yeah, never mind. They walk away. They come back out and attack Garbage Daddies, who had the match, or Violence is Forever had their match next. So then their opponent next is going to be To Infinity and Beyond. They come out for the save on the Garbage Daddies, start fighting with Violence is Forever. And so we ended up getting that match to start. So Violence is Forever, Dominic Green, Kevin Koo taking on To Infinity and Beyond, Cheech and Colin Delaney. Cheech ended up getting knocked down on the outside during the fight. So the match really starts 2-on-1. It was an okay match. Overall, I think it was better than that first match, because this match you had To Infinity kind of down a guy, and they made kind of a big comeback. You had Delaney doing a big old suplex. He ended up suplexing Garrini over the top rope, or Kevin Koo over the top rope to the outside. And you just kind of had a chop battle with the two teams. Violence is Forever was able to get the upper hand, end up winning the match. I give it 3 1/4. Next up, we had a former WWE guy in Sidney Akeem taking on one of the WWE ID guys, Marcus Mathers. 2 Lucha Libre high flyers here. And the two of these guys, literally for the first 2 minutes, was just, I know a lot of people hate the Lucha Libre. They hate the, jumping around and all that. These guys were kind of having some fun with it. Marcus Mathers ended up missing his final act, kind of fell with the ropes at the end, and just kind of looked at Sidney Akeem like, okay, you got it out of that. Okay, you got it. These two high flyers actually turned into a chop battle, turned into a mat-based striking match. It's like they start striking each other in mat wrestling. It's like, wait, you guys are high flyers. What the hell's going on here? But we had a little super kick pate, and then Sidney Akeem ended up doing an over the top rope, and then came in his final act in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. Sidney Akeem getting the victory over Marcus Mathers. That match lasted 16 minutes and 37 seconds. I ended up giving it 3 3/4. Next up, we had Broski Jimmy coming out, cutting a promo, and starts talking about the Buffalo Bills. Everybody cheers. Then he talks about the Broncos beating the Bills. Everybody boos. And Broski Jimmy kind of doing the old Zack Ryder character in WWE, and kind of the Matt Cardona now. It all kind of morphed into one in Broski Jimmy. I want to go back to Jimmy fucking Lloyd, not the Broski Jimmy. Gets cat socks. But he had a match against Rhyno, the man beast. Rhyno immediately pulls 2 tables out from under the ring, sets one of them up, puts one in the ring. Jimmy does this just horrible looking Jeff Jarrett strut. Rhyno gets annihilated with a chair. Rhyno ends up. So Jimmy was on the top rope. Rhyno hits Jimmy with a chair. He goes backwards over the top turnbuckle through a table. And that's how Rhyno was able to get the victory here. I ended up giving it 2.5. Next up, we had Charles Mason versus Parrow. So we had Parrow coming out with Richard Holiday. Mason comes out, and I absolutely adore what they're doing with Charles Mason. This just killer kind of methodical mafia kind of guy. And you get Richard Holiday on commentary. He keeps when the match starts, Charles Mason's standing there with this evil grin and just spits water in the face of Parrow. Holiday's face. You have Parrow attack him. Holiday gets on the commentary table. They're fighting on the outside. Parrow just takes chair shot after chair shot on Mason. Mason gets distracted by Holiday. Parrow ends up attacking him. Well, Parrow has got him down for a count. He's getting ready to pin him. You get Mason grab a microphone. Remember, Parrow, remember when you broke in your house and you attacked your husband and you beat your husband up? You need to... He's just like egging him on. Holiday was on the microphone. It was great. Mason ended up slamming Parrow in the corner of 2 chairs. Holiday came in and attacked Charles Mason. Holiday missed Mason and hit Parrow with a chair. With Richard Holiday getting involved, it ended up no contest. I ended up giving the match itself 2 3/4, but it definitely does set up for Charles Mason, Richard Holiday cage match at Hammerstein. I just love how they've taken this from Charles Mason, Holiday, and Parrow together. Mason, the whole gimmick of this is Holiday called the police, then Mason killed somebody. Mason gets arrested for murder, goes to jail. Holiday's bragging about it. Parrow's his bodyguard. Due to lack of evidence, Mason ends up getting out of prison. Holiday didn't realize he got out, and he starts attacking him, and it set the match up. So, an independent storyline. Next up, we have the JCW Championship on this, the Jersey Championship Wrestling title, which is defended a lot on GCW Television. It's kind of a sister company that Brett Lauderdale also owns. We had Griffin McCoy taking on Masha Slamovich, the champion. This card, like other cards, all subject to change due to all the weather going on. There were some wrestlers that couldn't make it to Rochester, New York. From the original card that was announced, there's several changes. But Masha taking on Griffin McCoy. There's an okay match. It was one of those matches where there was no just humongous crazy spots, but just a good wrestling match. I ended up giving it 3-star, Masha winning by submission. Next up, we had the Janelasus, Joey Janela, and Megan Bayne. The Megasus taking on the Pillars, Malcolm Monroe III, and Tommy Vendetta. Now, beyond GCW, I watched a lot of ICW No Holds Barred. Both Tommy Vendetta and Malcolm Monroe III wrestled there as well, and some other independent companies. So this turned into kind of a hardcore match. You had Malcolm Monroe III, MM3, choking Megan in the corner. Janela does this crossbody off the top rope, takes them both out, both of the Pillars. Death Valley Driver on a chair by Janela on MM3. The Pillars tried to do this backpack senton in the corner and missed. It looked kind of cool if it would have hit. Megan ended up putting Janela on the top rope and then just literally throwing him off her shoulders onto Vendetta, who did a freaking, and Janela did a destroyer. So it was almost like a powerbomb it was a powerbomb to the Destroyer, and then they ended up doing another powerbomb into a Dragon Suplex by Janelasus. So it was just like, these just inventive moves. Janelasus ended up getting the victory there. I ended up giving it 3.5. Next up, we had what I thought was kind of a weird match based on what the future holds. Because right now, for Hammerstein, which is the big show, we have Effy in the #1 contender match versus Alec. The winner goes on to the main event to wrestle Mance Warner for the title. We also have Atticus Cogar, who just returned to GCW, who's trying to fight anyone he can. He currently has a match against Bayne at Hammerstein. Janela has a match against Masato Tanaka. Yeah, that's going to be a death match. I'm confident in that. But this match, Atticus Cogar taking on Effy. Cogar come out and he just annihilated Effy with chairs. Cogar did this air raid crash on an upside down chair. So they weren't even just the chair sitting up or hitting him with chairs. He had the chair like you would sit on it, flipped it over with the legs up and doing moves on it. Now there were some botches here, so he really wasn't completely hitting them like what they were trying to mean to do. So it's like it kind of hit the side of him and knocked him over, so it wasn't as oop as you normally would get on a match like this. So for me, it's like I noticed little things like that. No, watching GCW so much, it's like, oh yeah, that's not what they were meaning to do. That happens several times. Obviously, you don't want to kill somebody. But when Cogar gets the skewers out and Cogar's in the corner, Effy does the jump up, hits him. Cogar takes a handful of the skewers and just hits him, put him in the ass of Effy. Ends up putting him in his head and busting him open. You had Atticus Cogar's brother come out, which is Otis Cogar. He comes out to help his brother. They ended up attacking Effy. Then you had Mance Warner come out. Obviously, they got Effy turned on, or Mance turned on Effy a year ago. They got the big match, hopefully at Hammerstein. But you also have Effy and Mance teaming up tonight at the Thank Me Later match as a tag team title match. I don't know how they're coinciding tonight. I haven't watched the show yet. So you have Mance out there attacking Effy with a chair. The ref let all this go. So you have a 3-on-1, all of them attacking Effy. I end up giving the match itself 3.25. Atticus Cogar gets the victory on Effy. So Effy is beat down and attacked. So he's going to be right now kind of down going into Hammerstein. Tonight, Alec actually has a match tonight. Maybe that could be interesting. I'm looking at the card for tonight. It doesn't look like Effy has a match as of right now, so that's actually a good thing. He gets a little time off. But yeah, so it's like he's banged up going in. Mance's main event was GCW World Title, triple threat match. Champion Mance Warner taking on Ciclope and Drew Parker. Basically a death match. So you have 9 days from Hammerstein, the biggest show of GCW season. You have Mance Warner in a triple threat hardcore death match. Oh boy, what could possibly go wrong with this? Now, different municipalities, different athletic commissions require different things. One thing in Rochester, New York, they had railings. So a lot of GCW shows don't have railings, but they required it there. And just like one of the announcers pointed out, in GCW when you see railings, it's like, free weapons. All right. They had Brett Lauderdale on commentary. Dominic Garrini was out there some. MLJ, Rob Sanderson, which I've never heard before, and Dan Preach. But Rob Sanderson knew his stuff. He's pretty good. I know Dave Prazak's been out. He'll hopefully be back for Hammerstein, which I hope he does. But this main event was just insane. Drew Parker, deathmatch legend. Dive to the outside on Ciclope. Does a second dive on the Mance. And Mance just annihilated him with the chair. Mance pulls 3 doors out from under the table. Now, of course, earlier we had tables, actual tables. True, just actual tables. Not the door bridge tables, actual tables. And the commentator made a big deal about, hey, there's actual tables here. No, Mance didn't use actual tables. All Mance uses doors. Makes door bridges out of them. We had a ladder in the ring. We had chairs. We had 3 doors. Mance ends up beating on Ciclope, biting his fingers. Ciclope spears Warner into the door. The door didn't break, so that's even hard. You think about it, when you go through a table or a door, when you spear into it, when it breaks, it kind of dispenses the energy. When it doesn't break, it's like, and it didn't break, and we just thud him into it. Well, Drew Parker thought, I can one-up him on this, so Drew Parker picks up Ciclope and spears Ciclope and Mance Warner through the door. You got door pieces everywhere, little splinters everywhere. You have half a door busted here. You got pieces of a door over here. You get Mance Warner and Drew Parker, 2, again, deathmatch guys, beating the holy tar out of one another with pieces of doors and just pieces flying everywhere. And it's like, oh my God. And you had Ciclope doing, getting annihilated with these doors. You had another door bridge get set up. You have Ciclope laying on it. You got Mance standing next to it. You get Drew Parker with a staple gun. He staples Mance to the table, the door. And then Drew Parker goes away. Everyone's like, where'd Drew Parker go? And you start seeing the fans pulling their phones out. You're like, okay, something big's going to happen. There's a balcony. There's an overhang at this little arena that you can jump into the ring on. So you have Drew Parker on a balcony, probably 15 feet in the air. Does a swanton off of this balcony through Ciclope on this door to the ring. Mance removed out of the way. You had Ciclope try to cover. You had Drew Parker try to cover Ciclope. Mance comes in with a kind of a punt-looking thing. Mance ends up falling on Ciclope. 1, 2, 3, and still GCW World Heavyweight Champion, the one and only Mance Warner. Oh, Mancer. Gonna have some Mance. Oh, Mance gonna celebrate tonight. 4-star I gave that. That was a really cool match. I enjoyed that hell out of that match. And that's the thing, when I watch a GCW show, unlike a WWE, New Japan, TNA, AEW, etc., I look at the weapons pieces as moves. That's how I grade these. So when we're beating each other with those doors and pieces are flying everywhere, or we're using the door bridge for things, to me that's like moves, submission holds, suplexes, chops, that kind of thing. And it just kind of ties into what they're doing. Now there are times they overdo it, yes. There are times in a normal match in WWE, AEW, TNA, etc., they're doing moves just to do moves. Just like a Will Ospreay Ricochet match. There's sometimes they're doing stuff that, okay, this move, you do this, and kind of that whole follow the line. Same way with death matches. There's moves that make sense, and there's times where it's like, that didn't make a lot of sense. Why did we do that? So, but overall, really good show. Can't wait to Hammerstein. Typically on GCW shows, I just review them. I don't preview them. I will be previewing Hammerstein. I did last time as well. You can go back on Robert Sports Show and check that out. But that is GCW Sorry Pal. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great night. Have a spiffy night. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader. Sports channel content from the independent scene to the main event of WrestleMania.